Lotto for the search 3 neutral.
Hello YouTube, we got another video, and this time it's going to be a discussion video on Shaddolls, as I said I would. As you can see, this is my deck. I pretty much just took my deck, made a new file, and I took out my side and put in a whole bunch of light monsters. So what we're going to be talking is on a light monster choices, extra deck choices, cycling with the main deck, and just overall how Shaddolls work and some tips that could go with them. So let's start off with the light monsters. Separated the light monsters into 3 groups: the elite, the workers, and the tools. And so pretty much let's start off with the elite. The elite are the boss of light monsters, the cards that you want to get out and have them hit the field and stay there for a while. You have cards like Judge Dragon, BLS, Sephion, or even Effect Failure, a card that you might not want to just get rid of right away for mid-rush. Not mid-rush, Nephilium. And so, when playing these cards, you have to think, okay, I want to get out Nephilium, or do I want to stay with BLS? Or do I want to use that Effect Failure, keep it in my hand, wait to use it, or do I just want to play Nephilium? And so it can create that dilemma where you don't know what to do. You're not sure. And so that's the main problem that I have with running boss light monsters, is that I don't want to get rid of them. And so you just never pull out Nephilium, and that hurts. So what you might think is, hey, let me get a worker, he can do something, and then I can throw him away. So you have a whole bunch of cards. You have artifacts, you have Novia Summer, Manju, Lila, Fusions. I've seen those guys with Shaddolls before. And pretty much how the workers, they come out and they do their job if you get them, but then if you're using them from the deck, or if you're using them from the hand, you could see them later in the grave, and you'll be like, I never used this card. This card didn't do me anything at all except allow me to pull in Nephilium. So why am I even running it? Sometimes I didn't even need to use it. Sometimes your opponent doesn't have back row, and you have Lila in your hand, and you're like, what's the point of this card? Or maybe you have an artifact Molotok set, and it's not just being MST, and so you don't know what to do with your card. So it could come to the part where they're just not doing anything, and you wish you could get an effect off of them also. And so you might look at cards that could be fusion support or have effects in the grave. And as you can see, I am main decking 2 AD changers, so AD changer is right now my favorite. So you could run cards with Goddess of the Third Eye, which I think would allow you to fusion with 2 light monsters, using her as a shadow monster, or maybe Electromagnetic Turtle. I just don't think there's a need for him, because the deck's so powerful that if you have to negate a battle phase, that's something's wrong. But AD Changer does everything I would need to do. It makes the deck faster because I can set a card, flip it face up that turn, and then be able to do all the nice little effects I need with it. So I like AD Changer in it, but it comes to the problem where if you draw into the card and you'd rather draw something else. Pretty much, it's like, I don't need this card right now. This doesn't help me. AD Changer doesn't do much in the hand unless you do have the ability to go for fusion. In which case, yeah, having these cards in the hand would be nice, but you mainly want to use them from the deck. You'd rather draw into other cards and fusion through the deck using these. So that could be, these are the ideas of with light monsters that I mainly see. Either you're running elite boss monsters that can hurt your opponent, be it you just don't want to get rid of, so you never pull out Nephilium, or you work with monsters that can do a job and sometimes do, sometimes don't, and you just feel, and you might feel that they don't do anything for you. Or maybe you'll run fusion support or cards that have effects in the grave that when you draw into, they're dead, and you're just like, I can't do anything with it. So now, on to the X deck. Now, I know there's an XZ variant, I know there's a fusion, a Synchro variant, but I like to think I'm running the fusion variant, because as you can see, I'm running 10 fusions. So, as of course, you're running the triple Nephilium, the triple Midrush, which is kind of what you're supposed to do. Igi Crystal, he can be iffy, depending on the person. I don't run him at 2 because I have extra room. But we also have Gaia Drake, and Dark Lord. I'm running these guys because Skydrake can be a 35 beater, which gets over pretty much anything in the meta besides an Honest, and Dark Lord can be macro for your opponent, which can really hurt. Can really hurt a lot of decks. So I feel that these cards can give me a little bit more of an advantage or an edge over certain decks, being able to go, alright, now they have to play against anti-meta. If they have macro on the field, no, that's gonna really hurt them. Now, granted, Dark Lord doesn't hurt me, so it's really powerful. I really like Dark Lord. And with Skydrake, if I can pull him out, I normally get using Summoner of Illusion. That's the only way I can pull him out. So I set off a Shaddoll monster, and then I get a 35 beater and a Shaddoll effect, which can be really nice. It can do a whole bunch of stuff, and Summoner of Illusion can activate during the damage step, so I could get a lot of free advantage. They attack, I send a Lizard, I can dump a whole bunch of cards during the damage step, and I can get all that free advantage over my opponent. So you have these, and it's really up to you, each person's opinion, what they want to do with Shaddoll. And now, for the synchros, I recommend Starter because Starter can get over a lot of things and can just be a huge problem for your opponent. But you have to run Shaddoll Roots. You could pull out 2 with one Shaddoll Roots if possible, because the Shaddoll fusions, they can cycle Shaddoll Roots, which can be nice. But I highly recommend you run Arcanite Magician. Now, he's a level 7, and he can destroy 2 monsters. And out of the level 7 synchro, there aren't a lot. There's Black Rose Dragon, which I don't think Shaddoll should ever need. You should never need a Black Rose Dragon. And there's Moonlight Dragon, which some people like to run. But I feel Arcanite Magician just does it, destroys 2 monsters, or destroys 2 cards, and now I can just go for game pretty much after I do it. And then of course we're running 101 because it's broken, and Diagus Ammo as a mini pot of fabric. Now there's some certain things that I do. If Darkstrike Fighter did come back and it was errata, and I take Iggy Crystal down to 1 and put him in, it would just be so amazing. Throwing the set main phase 2, Darkstrike Fighter, trigger Nephilim, 1600 damage, Nephilim effect. So yeah, I would definitely want Darkstrike Fighter, and if it does come back, I suggest putting it in your deck. Now, onto the main. As I said, we're going to be talking about cycling and how Shaddolls work in general. Now, let's start off with the start game. With the start game, Shaddolls can be really slow. It all depends on about getting, I feel, that first Lizard in the grave. Because that Lizard can open up so many plays, so many different things, whether you're dropping Beast, Hedgehog, Falcon, any of your other Shaddolls. It's all about getting that Lizard into the grave right away. And so, when I was only running 1 Hedgehog, I was noticing that I couldn't get the fusions, I couldn't dump quick enough. So that can slow a Shaddoll deck down. Now of course I'm running double Hedgehog and triple facing the shadows. So it's not that hard, and I have plenty of fusion spell cards, so I can easily dump now. But yet that can be a huge problem for my opponent, for anybody that's playing Shaddolls and they don't know what to do. You need to make sure that you have a way at the beginning of the game as quickly as possible to dump Lizard, or any other Shaddoll card. Once you start dumping, once you start deck spinning, you now have more power and more options and more combos, and you just start drawing, and it just goes off of it. Now, when you do start dumping, if you can't finish the game before you get to have less than 15 cards, you start to lose. Because if your opponent still is fresh and he's gone through all your moves and you haven't killed him yet, you have 15 or less cards in your deck, you probably don't have any more monsters to fusion summon with. So you start running out of monsters, you start running out of cycle material, and you just can't do anything. And so here we're running mainly Exodius, because he returns all monsters, which is a complete boost. And of course we're also running Diagus Emerald. We're also running Potted Economy. A Potted Economy is 1 card that allows you to draw 2. You have to shuffle in 3 different monsters, 3 different types. As you can see, most of these are spellcasters. The only ones that aren't are Fire and Ice Hand and AD Changer. An AD Changer I normally banish to get its effect. So he's not even considered. So that's the main reason why I'm running triple Fire and Ice Hand is a little bit more cycling, and his Fire and Ice Hand. They can destroy and deck him for days. Now the other thing that I feel Potted Economy does for Shaddoll deck is it gives a dud. And duds can be very important. To me, a dud is any card that can be activated, I'd say 90% of the time in the deck. It's for that little part, whether it be at the very beginning or the very end, it's dead. It's useless. And so, as you can see, if you open up a Sonic Economy ever, it's gonna be dead cards. Now, if you look at my Relinquish deck, if you've ever seen any of my other videos, I like to set Black Illusion Ritual. They MST it, then bring it back with Preparation Right. That would be an example of a dud. Or if you look at my Fire Knight and Stun deck, I have so much trap where if they were to MST anything, it wouldn't do much. And even if I would have Dark Bribe, then I could protect the traps that I would want to. So, with those decks, I have something that I could let my opponent MST, but yet they would still run into problems. And now, if they were with Shaddoll, I don't have much. If they end phase MST facing, I go minus. If they use MST Shaddoll Root, and I don't have any Shaddoll field spell cards in there, and then I go minus, or Super Poly, or any of my other cards, I go minus. And so, Product Economy, even if you can't activate it, you can still place it on the field and make it be that one card that your opponent either worries about constantly wondering, what is that card, face down card, or they just MST it and it just becomes a game of luck. Will they hit Facing the Shadow, or will they hit Product Economy? I tend to have a lot of luck with my duds, because every time I set Black Illusion Ritual and Word Greek, Black Illusion Ritual always gets MST'd, and it just makes me so happy. But, so, while it can have great cycling and great draw power, it doesn't really have a side effect because the idea that you can't conduct your battle phase, okay, I have more monsters, we have soldiers. So it doesn't have a downside, it's a +1 pretty much, and you just get huge cycling. Like, there's just absolutely nothing wrong with this card if you can use it. If you can't, you can use it for a dud and just hope that your opponent MSTs it instead of one of your other cards. That is pretty much what I have to say on Shaddoll. Really like the deck, really want to get it. Very powerful, and I don't want to say it's fast like my Dolces, be it can just dump. It doesn't gain effect from getting cards on the field, it gains effect from deck spinning and from getting all those cards out. And that's how it draws its deck. Shutting down the field and the grave is how to beat Shaddoll. That's another discussion. Thinking in a couple days I'm going to do a discussion on how to decide. And so if you guys enjoyed this video, I'm definitely just can't wait for them to come out. Duelist Alliances, please come out quickly. I'd really like Duelist Alliance to come out. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye.